Hello, everyone. This is Dave Paulsen, head basketball coach at George Mason University with episode, 14, I think, for Distancing Dialogues. Today, meeting with Tim Sweeney. Tim was an assistant coach for me for one season at Bucknell University. He's currently the head coach at Connecticut College. Tim, excited to have you on this dialogue.
Yeah, Dave, it's great to be here. It's my pleasure to join you today, and I'm kind of hoping you're saving the best for last. Maybe that's the theme here today, or?
Well, we got a few more guys after you, Sweeney. So but again, if people have never watched, this is something I started conversations that I would normally have with assistant coaches, past and present of mine, just X's and O's and best practices, and figured let's record it, let's put it out there for people to watch. And then I donate to a relief agency each week, just trying to give back, during this pandemic, and ask my guests to do it. My go-to group has been DC Central Kitchen. They've served over 1 million meals to people during this pandemic. And Tim, you're going to donate, where?
To the New London Area Food Pantry, Coach. Inspired by your work down there. So appreciate that. And yeah, we're going to do New London as the city where Connecticut College is located, and we're going to work with the food pantry here.
Perfect. So typically what we'll do is we just kind of talk a little bit of philosophy and coaching, and then Tim will do a screen share. So before we started officially, I was trying to remember, so I coached against you when I was a head coach at Williams College, and you were a standout guard at University of Rochester. But talk a little bit, your coach at Rochester, Mike Neer, certainly by any way of categorizing it, one of the best to ever coach a game at the Division III level. Talk to me a little bit about playing for Coach Neer and what it was like as a player, and kind of what things you've taken with you as a coach.
Yeah. Well, like most players, you tend to appreciate your coach, as each year passes. So certainly, he was an old school disciplinarian, and at times as a player, you get frustrated. But yeah, I've taken so much from Coach Neer, and I'd say the biggest thing as a coach now is that I was a point guard as a player, as you mentioned, and Coach Neer is 6'8" and was a terrific teacher of post play and interior play. So, for a coaching background, it was great to have that experience to learn how to play with other good post players and to just learn that style of basketball. So looking back on it, I couldn't have picked a better coach to maybe play for, just to be well-rounded now in terms of playing for Coach.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because how many we've got a graduate assistant, Alex Bates, on our staff. He played Division I basketball. He's 6'8". And I keep telling him, you are such a valuable commodity, because I would say 90% of the people going to coaching are guards, right? Because just for whatever reason, there's not too many big guys who are going to coaching. So certainly in Coach Neer's teams, if you use the football metaphor, kind of smash mouth football, really threw that ball inside and really, really good at that. So as a player, I couldn't remember. So you were 1-0 against teams I coached, right? So you guys beat us in the NCAA tournament. That was your junior year?
That was my junior year, yeah.
And then senior year, we were in the same sectional, but you guys lost the Sweet 16. We ended up winning the national championship, because I just all summer long I wondered, how are we going to guard Tim Sweeney? Either Tim Sweeney or Seth Howman. One of the two. I'm not sure which one.
Something tells me I had a pretty good game against you guys, because I might have been towards the bottom of your scatter reports. And, being at Bucknell with you, I know how those reports look. So I know I was towards the bottom, and that might have been why I was able to have a little bit of success. But, it was I like to think we prepared you guys to win a national championship, Coach.
Well, I think that is. Sometimes you got to, knock on the door, and then the next year, we were able to blow the door down. But certainly a great career. And then what? I know you ended up at Davidson, but was there a stop before Davidson?
Well, I started as a grad assistant at the University of Rochester, where I played. And actually happy to report to you, Coach, as one of my mentors that I just got my master's degree this weekend. So I just finished what I started 15 years ago. Yeah,
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
it's been a good weekend. But yeah, I start my first 3 years were with Coach there, so I got to jump right in, get behind the scenes with the program that I played in, which can be tricky as a young guy, but it was really in hindsight a great experience and a great place to get my feet wet.
I forgot that. So it took you 15 years to finish that master's. Because I was a grad assistant at the University of Michigan, and then I got an assistant coaching job at Cleveland State. And all I had 1 or 2 classes to finish in my thesis, and I never communicated with my thesis advisor. I'm like, I can't give him a chance to say no. And then I just submitted it, and like 2 weeks later, he gave me an A-, and I was like, I got my degree. So that's like the grad work interrupted. But I was a little quicker than you, 15 years. Good Lord.
Yeah, I mean, I moved south, and then I stayed south, year in PA, and then south again. So it took a while, but happy to report that it's done. So
that's good. Now the big question: does that merit a pay raise at Con College?
It's actually a necessity. It's a Con College policy that you have to have your master's degree within a certain amount of time. So it was a great motivation to go ahead and finish.
That's great. That's great. So from Rochester, you went down to Davidson, all right? And how many years at Davidson?
I was there for 2 years.
Including the run to Elite Eight with Steph Curry. Now, is it true that he could not shoot at all until you kind of took him under his wing? Or what's the real story about that?
Yeah, I just tried to stay out of the way, Coach. I think he had some good tutoring prior to Davidson, and he was really just a remarkable kid to coach. I mean, everything you see on TV now and what you read about is true. He's genuine, unbelievable family and parent structure. He was a great teammate. He was accepted from day one by his older teammates, which, as you know, can be really difficult to come in as a freshman and basically take over. And nobody could have handled it better than him. He was just very genuine, great to work with, incredible work ethic, and just a really good person.
That's awesome. So, Coach McKillop, and I was able to hire you when I got the job at Bucknell, away from Coach McKillop to come to Bucknell, and I obviously followed his success, was entranced with that magical run as well. Tried to pick your brain as much as I could in that 1 year about Coach McKillop, and now, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, I compete against his teams and have just the profound level of respect for him. But tell me about kind of what you took away in those 2 years working for Coach McKillop.
Yeah, I've always described it as getting a PhD in coaching, quite frankly, right? We were joking about the master's degree, but, the level of detail of Coach McKillop and his system and just all the details that go into it is astounding. And, from footwork to angles and everything in between, he's just a master of details. And he's a great person first and foremost, and then he's just a great coach that really incorporates everybody in the program, from managers to walk-ons to star players, and is an incredible CEO of sorts, I guess is the right word to use, and bringing everyone together. And obviously, Davidson's a special place. It's a great school. And so, yeah, all those factors come together. But it was really just, I was lucky to play for Coach Neer and get that experience. And then there were some similarities in terms of structure even. And then Coach McKillop, again, just the amount of detail and the amount of time and thought he puts into everything is just super high level. And so, and the amazing thing is that was, over 10 years ago. And I know just from staying in touch how much he's even evolved. So he's also one of those coaches that's constantly evolving, constantly trying to learn, much like yourself, and, constantly studying. So. Yeah.
And it was good for me. It was funny. You may not know, cause I remember going to the snack bar and I had a notebook and like, tell me everything, what most resonates about Davidson. And I think it was after you'd left, in some cases, a year later, I'm like, that's what Sweeney was talking about. And really, in terms of, we recruited similar types of student and player at Bucknell to Davidson, and just the way that he could really create this toughness, this physical toughness, and competitive spirit. And so, I've tried to figure out my way of doing that, because that was obviously something that he evolved with. And again, the teams obviously play with great execution, but also I think what's underrated is how tough their guys are. So it's interesting. So your first head coaching job's at Hobart. And how many years were you at Hobart?
5 years. Yep.
And did you guys go to the NCAA tournament the last year?
We didn't. Actually, we missed the tournament. We won the league once, regular season title, by 4 games. Actually, won 21 games, and the nature of Division III. We lost in our conference tournament, and we got left at the table. So that was our best season there. I think we averaged 17 wins a year, so we had a bunch of really good years. Unfortunately, never got a chance to play in the tournament. Lost in the conference tournament twice in the final, and then again that one year we won the regular season. So 3 of the 5 years we either won the league or played in the final. But unfortunately for me as a coach, we didn't get a chance to dance. But I'm really pleased to share with the audience that this year the team that was there with me, with Stefan Thompson, who's going to be an amazing coach, already is. He led them to the Sweet 16. So we feel really good about the foundation we built, the kids that are there, and they had an amazing year this year. I actually got to see them in Springfield win their second round game, and then of course the whole thing ended right. Prior to the Sweet 16. So
that's what I knew. They had a great year this year, and I didn't know if that kind of like we'd said about our team at Williams that lost to your Rochester team, and you had to kind of knock on the door before you knocked it down. So it must feel great, like that you and your work and your recruiting and your culture building and coaching laid that foundation for that group of guys and program to move forward. So finished 1 year at Connecticut College. So what led you to go from Hobart to Connecticut College?
Yeah, I think quite frankly, it was the challenge. I think that the timing was right. We love this area here in Connecticut. I grew up in northern New Jersey, which is right down the road. It's just a beautiful location. We're right on the water. In many circles and opinions, I know this is an opinion, but the NESCAC is the toughest league in Division III. And I think I was a player, coach. You were, I think, just getting to Williams when you can see it behind me, the Walnut and Bronze. They were the third place team in the country. They lost in overtime in the national semifinals, and so I remember that history and was really excited about taking on this challenge of kind of getting Conn College back to national prominence.
Well, that's great, and as you said, and me having spent 8 years coaching the league, I mean it is a phenomenal league with great coaches and great student athletes, and every game's a challenge, and hopefully you and I and everyone who coaches will have a chance to actually coach games this year. But want to get now to, kind of sharing your screen and just kind of take us through some things. You're going to talk about baseline out of bounds offense.
Yeah, I mean, you've had some great guys on here, throughout this. So I figured, let me try to, maybe dive into some special teams, do something a little bit different, specialize, and then you can stop me, Dave, whenever you think it's a good time, and we can go from there. So what I thought I'd do today is just talk a little bit about our baseline out of bounds series and sort of thoughts behind it. And the very first thing I'd say is we really try to use the same alignment, first of all. So just a little background on the NESCAC, coach, and this will bring you back to your Williams days. We really get 12 practices and then we have to go. So it's a very short window of time. And so I really tried to be very precise with what we were doing on the baseline and not do too much too soon. So, number one, we wanted the alignment to be similar, and then we wanted to kind of layer it and have a logical progression to our stuff. So, the first thing is I'll play this here. as you're looking at the screen, we're in blue. Right here is our 5-man. This is our 4. This is usually 2 or 3 a shooter, your other guard, and then our point guard would take it out. So, and we use this flat line. Teams are really good, I think, now at sort of pressuring your inbound and maybe taking it away. So we like the flat line look because we feel like we can get it in easier that way. So I'll just let this run. This is just your classic flex, and our timing is brutal. This is against Middlebury, but our first option is we had a very talented 5-man who could score in the post. So our thought was, we can go in, get right into flex, something really simple, and attack. Here's a better quality shot here. So again, just right over the top, we're backing this guy up. What I think is really critical, and I'd like to point this out, is this catch is way too far out. And if we look at the first clip again, we really want 12 here to seal this guy and be very patient. We want to make that catch in the elbow area, and we're a little bit rushed here. Hamilton does a good job of pressuring, but we need to slow that down. We want to catch it in that elbow area. The clip before you saw, we were able to score, because we caught it deep. I'll actually go back and let's go do that clip again because I think it's important. Here we go. He really digs in. Then this guy's patient. See how he kind of shows the hand, creates the lead. We really want to keep it in tight here. And then again, really looking to go inside. We led the league this year in post-up percentages and synergy, and that was sort of our go-to. Again, see how he gets pushed out. I think that's disrupts the timing. This will make you laugh, DP. This is our Coach Neer influence. We really, again, we're trying to play through our 34 in the post, little ball screen, look back, and he was well scouted, but big, strong kid, leading scorer for us. All right, so once we got our flex installed, which is as basic as you can get, the thinking now is, all right, how can we build off flex and sort of with something that makes sense? So what we did is just, again, your simple pick the picker. But as you can notice, as 10 starts to back up, if you're defending flex, you're anticipating that, it's a good time to screen. So just this simple back screen, and we would get this. Now, I included the clip anyway. This was tough. They won our league. Probably not a great decision there. Let me play that again. But again, the thinking behind it is we back this guy up. The defender on 10 is anticipating possible flex action. So we wanted to use that against him and try to screen him here. And again, we get it in. Not a good decision to shoot in the crowd, but I think you get the point.
Yep.
So we back this guy up. So with the guard, here I'll use the cursor. With 0, we talked a lot about, the better screen you set, the better this action is going to be for us. So we wanted this to be a physical screen. We wanted a headhunt. Decent job. Made him change course. But again, we're just running simple pick the picker. This was a very good game with Trinity, who ended up finishing 4th in our league. We lost in overtime. So this was a big game for us. But again, just one more look at it. We're just trying to make the defense kind of guess what's coming. So he's backing up. We've run flex. Now just a simple pick the picker action. We'd like 33 to time this just a little bit better. So as we look here, and this will make sense in a second when we see our next read, but we want 33 really to hang out in this area more and time it and wait. But again, simple pick the picker. Get offensive rebound 3. Great time to shoot a 3. Okay. And then really this is a trend, I think you're probably seeing this too, is that teams are taking their tracer to really defend the rim. So we're running flex, we're back screening to the opposite block. So now what we're really doing, coach, is we're seeing where you're putting we call them the tracer, the person guarding the inbounds pass. And if you stick them under the basket, we just have a simple read where we're popping it right to the 5, step in, and we have our looks out of this. Just a simple kind of, we call that our just a get, a pass and go get. Here's another look, same game. This time our leading scorer keeps it. And we get a look at the basket. So, again, trying to be really simple out of this, same alignment. Tracer was a little bit more active this time because we had gotten him before. We call this a keeper, where he holds onto the ball, keeps it, can attack the rim and score. I had to put a Williams clip in just for you. Same idea, though. But what we liked about it, Coach, in all seriousness, was, our 5-man was our leading scorer, so this gave us a chance to – we ran a lot of this action where we'd throw to him and let him dictate either dribble handoff. I didn't include a clip on it, but this is also a great time to get middle penetration. If you can get the spacing right on that dribble handoff, great time for your point guard to get middle. We found we got that a lot into driving kicks. So, but it helped to have a 5-man here who could make a play off the dribble. He was a little quicker than the 5 on the other team, and so we took advantage.
You run that back.
Yep.
You wouldn't have gotten that if I was coaching Williams. I'm just saying. Would have been you had that thing scouted. Would have been in the gaps. That guy up top right there.
This guy wasn't in the gap.
He'd have been stunned. He'd have been digging that ball out. So.
Yeah. Or he would have been on the bench next to you. I know enough to know that. Yep. So, but again, I hope this kind of it's simple stuff, but hopefully it makes some sense. And again, we wanted everything to connect together. So starting with the flex into the pick the picker, where you get that same looking action, and this is just a counter to that. Simple stuff, but hopefully can help somebody out there. And this is just a special, okay? Typically our 5 is in this ball side corner, so that would be number 2 here. And we would run this. This might look a little familiar. You might have seen this in conference, but we like to run the 5 on a little double back screen here to the rim. The timing's a little off. He needs to wait for 0 to clear, and then it's a real screen the screener look for the initial stagger. This is late game. We needed a 3, and
wait, can you run that back? So.
Yeah.
5 comes off the double back screen.
Yep, and 2 goes way too early, Coach. So again, this is a.
Oh, so you get 2 inside of 4.
Yeah, we want 0 to get here first. So 2, who I'm circling right now, he leaves too early. We'd like him to wait.
But you want your guard who's underneath the rim to get inside your 4-man.
Yep, we want this guard to be right where I'm moving the tracer. We want the clicker. We want him to get past 10 before 2 comes off. So it's not a great clip, but I wanted to show it because it's quality video. And
then you screen in.
Yep. So then we screen in here for the original screener. Yep. So it's a screen the screener. It's a really good look, late clock when you need to get a shot. We had some success with that. And yeah, so you kind of get a pick the picker action into a 3. And then this is real sloppy, but I included this as well. This is just like little offense stuff. Not a great inbound, but having a little technical difficulty here.
Well, you don't have me around to troubleshoot your technology game like you did before.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So, yeah, that was what I had, Coach.
Well, so what in your out of bounds offense? What bothers it? Like, what are the keys when you're having success with it, and kind of what bothers you the most?
Yeah. So with the flatline stuff, really the biggest thing was teams that really try to pressure. It's really important that you work and teach sealing. I think that was the big thing, and we liked it for us because we had big physical guys that we felt could like box out and seal and catch that over the top pass. I think that's if I were playing against myself, we would really put a lot of pressure on that first entry pass. Because I think you can just because of the way the alignment works. So teams that would really be physical with that and challenge that initial catch, I think the further you can push out the catch, the better off you are. I showed the one flex clip where our guy didn't set up his cut and ended up catching it, 25 feet from the basket, that kind of disrupts the timing. So
Right.
I think really putting heat on that first entry guy can be valuable. But I think it's also effective though, because as we showed, if you mess around with the tracer and put them under the basket, there's a pretty easy read to counteract that.
How often did you just, like, if you, in terms of percentages, would you say you did the typical flex? That's your go-to?
Well, I led with the flex because that was sort of the way we built it out. But I would say by the end of the year, we were 25% flex, 25% a quarter pick the picker, and then 50% that two-man game. Just throw it into the 5.
Come back and get it.
And go, yeah. And a lot of that was we wanted to get right into two-man action with some of our better guys. And I think a lot of it's just, right, who are your go-to scorers? Where are they? What do they do well? We happen to have a group that I think this fit for. So, we may end up changing, some of the wrinkles in what we do. And probably I would be surprised if we don't. But this was a good starting point for us. And, again, the reason I did it was just trying to, show everybody like just a logical sequence and how to piece it together.
Right.
So we didn't have 18 different alignments. I think it was really born out of necessity, and it ended up being pretty good for us in a real simple way.
When you were at Hobart and you had a little more preseason practice, did you do a lot more?
No, it's interesting. We had the same philosophy, just one alignment, run everything out of the same alignment, just so that we could disguise everything we were doing. I just, I've always appreciated kind of the football coach mentality on alignments, and you can kind of go one of two ways. You can have a million alignments, or you can have one alignment that you disguise a million ways. I think that's the latter is what we were going for. It's just that one alignment that, you remember being, all the scouting we do and everyone does, if you can tip off the play based on the alignment, it's an advantage.
Right. No question. How do you communicate? You're out of bounds place. Or can you not say that?
I have to plead the fifth on that one, Coach Paulsen. It's really important.
All right. But you use the same kind of.
Well, suffice it to say, we have different ways of signaling. I don't know if we're as extreme as maybe the Union College teams back in the 90s.
Play hard, play smart, play together. Those are different. Yeah, yes, absolutely. That's good. How much time you spend practicing your based on out of bounds?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We were talking pre-show here, off air. We get those 12 practices, and then we go play. So, quite frankly, we were spending a very limited amount of time on this. And actually, what we did might be helpful for others is we would weave in our BOB offense into a different drill. So let's say we were working on a transition piece. We would actually run our baseline offense against each other into a transition segment, things like that. So we were constantly trying to find ways to integrate our what we call special teams, baseline, sideline, and after timeout actions into like the flow of our practice. So we wouldn't have a baseline out of bounds segment. We would actually run these within a different segment and then film it, clean it up later, come back to it, do it again.
Okay.
Really at a time necessity.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's only so much you can do, and only so much guys can remember. But yeah, that's good. Your ATOs, and you guys don't have media timeouts, do you? Yet?
No.
Okay. That's
different game.
It's a whole different game. When I coached Division III, games are over in an hour and a half. Right? But so you have 8 less stoppages at play, on average a game, which is significant. Your ATOs, are you running something special, or are you doing a tweak out of something that you normally run?
Really, in terms of ATOs, as you said, we don't have nearly as many as at the Division I level. So, I would venture a guess that we probably spend a little less time on it than maybe yourself or other programs, especially in the A10. But, Yeah, our theme there was, that was our time for kind of our quick hitters, getting the ball to a certain person at a certain spot, typically when we had the ball on offense. And then defense, we were a multiple defense team. We played a lot of zone and man. So, typically we'd look to change potentially or change a coverage coming out of the timeout.
Right, out of timeout. What zones you play?
2-3.
2-3. Standard?
The Chris Downs 2-3.
Standard 2-3 zone?
Yeah.
Like no funky, gimmicky. No. All right. Well, so if you guys have a season, what's it look like for college basketball this year?
Well, we're really excited, Coach. I mean, we, first of all, I think we took our lumps last year. There's no doubt about it. We're really, in no way pleased with anything we did, to be blunt. But we certainly feel like we laid an initial foundation. And I think year 2 is part of even building that foundation stronger. We brought in a great class, six young men in this first class. We had 3 top 150 kids in New England Recruiting Report, which is the most of any Division III school. So we're really, really fired up about that. We love the kids that are coming. The kids that are here that have committed to us are working really hard. So, we're really hoping we have a season. We have a chance to show our progress and, but understanding that, it's going to be a progress, a continuous progress as well, process as well. One of my favorite lines, I read this, not recently, but once COVID hit, Coach, you might like this, is, Rome wasn't built in a day, but they were laying bricks every hour. And that's sort of the mantra we've been throwing around here, since March is, it's not going to happen overnight, but, our guys are well aware of the work they need to do. So we're optimistic. We're hopeful. We're set to practice here in October. So knock on wood, hopefully we're able to get there and, take a step here in year 2.
Perfect. Well, Tim, thank you very, very much for sharing this with us, and looking forward to connecting in person when we can soon.
Thanks, Dave.